Today, as I was watering the garden, I was reflecting on some bad habits that we may form, and two in particular. The first one is don't be a swamp. You say, what? What are you talking about, Peppo? Well, I just purged a pot that was not letting any water out and had water all the way to the top, which became stagnant and smelly. So notice how sad it looks right now, especially compared to the other plants. And I wish I videotaped it before I drained it, but the thought of making a video came right after I drained it and dug underneath the pot to give water a way out. We are all familiar with a swamp, that body of water that just sits there. There is no flow, there is no movement, just a stale, murky water that collects debris and breeds mosquito and eventually even stinks. But why? Because there is no outlet. It receives, but it doesn't give. And you know what? That's the risk that we run as Christians. We take in God's word, but we never share it. And the word was never meant to stop with us. We were designed to be rivers, not reservoir. Jesus didn't say, hey, store up my teachings and keep them on a shelf somewhere. No, he says, go and make disciples. And that means that we hear, we grow, and we speak, we share. In Genesis 12, we see that God tells Abraham, I will bless you and you will be a blessing. And it is the same with us. God blesses us with truth, with grace, with finances, with wisdom, not for us to hoard, but so that we may pass it on. And think of the Sea of Galilee, for instance. It's full of life, fish, green shores. It's alive because it has both an inlet and an outlet. But the Dead Sea, different story. It only receives water, no outlet, and everything dies there. It's salty, it's stagnant, it's lifeless. And too many Christians, unfortunately, are just like the Dead Sea. Bible study after Bible study, sermon after sermon, but they never disciple anyone. They never testify. They never pass it on. And eventually their spiritual life grows stale. And they wonder why they're dry, they're disengaged, they are disillusioned. Proverbs 11:25 says that whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. So you want to be spiritually refreshed? Then start pouring into others. Jeremiah has been dubbed as the weeping prophet. Why? Because of the gloomy nature of his messages, but also the grief that he expressed for his own people. And most of his warning were ignored. And so he even fought opening his mouth in order to be more tolerated by other people around him. But it didn't work out. And this is what he writes in chapter 20, verse 8 and 9. The word of the Lord has become for me a reproach and derision all day long. If I say, I will not mention him or speak anymore in his name, there is in my heart as it were a burning fire shut up in my bones, and I am weary with holding it in, and I cannot. It's just awesome. So even though he may have desire to keep his mouth shut, to be accepted by man, he could not do it. He couldn't hold it. He could not hold God's word inside of his lips. And when was the last time that God put a burning fire in your heart that you could not contain? And that's the heart of a believer, filled with God's Spirit. We are not meant to be spiritual reservoirs. We are called to be rivers, to channel the living water that is in us. The word in us must flow through us, or our spiritual life becomes stagnant. So ask yourself, are you a living river or a spiritual swamp? Now, the second lesson from the plants is this: watch your position. Now look at my Mandeville plants. Now these plants do not have a drainage problem since they're hanging. They're all draining equally. However, even in this situation, there is a problem with one of them. Here it is, kind of relegated in the corner, getting very little sun. And that could represent the bad habit or problems of some of us. So we're getting the water, we are draining, but we are not constantly exposed to the sun, or in our case, the sun. What does that remind me of? Well, it reminds me of those of us who do take the water in. We read. That's information. And we may even proclaim it, which avoids stagnation. But we're not thriving, meaning there are no flowers or transformation, because we operate in our own strength. We are lacking empowerment because we are not present. We are not in fellowship. We are not close to Him. Remember, John 15:5 says, apart from me, you can do nothing. Without daily exposure to the Son, Without staying close to Christ, we might look busy, we might say the right things, but we won't produce fruit. So we will be only shadows of what we could be. The takeaway: 1, don't be a swamp. Let God's word flow through you. And 2, don't stay in the shade. Make sure that you're walking in His presence, not just sharing His principles. Hopefully this is helping you. Oh guys, about 65% of those who watch the videos are still not subscribed, so please subscribe if you haven't done so, if you enjoy it. Otherwise, don't worry about it. And I will catch you on the next video. Ciao.